What happens when a country music superstar finds himself cornered by relentless questions on live national television? You're about to see one of the most intense moments in Good Morning America history, where Blake Shelton completely loses his cool in a way no one expected. Make sure to subscribe and drop a comment because this story only gets more explosive as it goes on. It began as a simple morning show appearance. Blake Shelton arrived at the Good Morning America studios expecting the usual light chat about his new album. Maybe a few jokes about The Voice, and perhaps some fun about his relationship with Gwen Stefani. Instead, he got Michael Strahan in full investigative mode, ready with questions that could make even the toughest guests sweat. The interview started smoothly. Blake settled into his seat, flashing his usual easy grin as the cameras rolled. Michael greeted him warmly. "Good morning, Blake. Thanks for being here. I know you've got a lot going on with your new album and The Voice returning." Blake nodded. "Morning, Michael. Always good to be here. Yeah, the album's got some songs I'm really proud of, and this season of The Voice is going to be incredible." Then Michael's tone changed slightly. "Speaking of The Voice," he said, "there's been talk about the way some coaches run things. Some critics say certain coaches, including you, might be showing favoritism." Blake's smile froze for a second, confusion flashing in his eyes. "Playing favorites? Michael, I've been doing this show for over a decade. My record speaks for itself." "That's what some people are questioning," Michael replied. "There have been claims that not all your wins were exactly on the level." The studio went quiet except for the hum of the cameras. Blake's jaw tightened. "Claims from who? That's a serious accusation to make on live TV." "Multiple people from within production," Michael said, looking calm. "Sources say outcomes were sometimes predetermined, that coaches knew in advance who'd reach the finals." Blake gripped the chair's arms. "That's absolute nonsense. The Voice is a fair competition. The best singers win. I don't know who you've been talking to, but they're lying." "Are they?" Michael asked, his tone sharper now. "We've spoken to former contestants from your team. They say things behind the scenes weren't as fair as they seemed." "Then bring them here," Blake shot back, his Oklahoma accent thickening as his anger grew. "Let them sit here and say it to my face instead of hiding behind anonymous quotes." Michael checked his notes, clearly ready for the tension. "We did contact several former contestants. Most declined to appear, citing legal risks and career concerns." Blake's voice rose. "Legal risks? What are you talking about? There's nothing illegal happening. You're fishing, Michael. On live TV, without any proof." Michael didn't flinch. "Then let's talk proof. We've obtained internal communications between producers and executives that suggest The Voice may not be as authentic as fans think." Blake's face turned red. "Show them to me. Right now. Put them on the screen." "I can't share specifics because of ongoing investigations," Michael said evenly. "But they reference storylines, coach wins, and keeping the show entertaining, not purely merit-based." "Investigations?" Blake demanded, his voice cracking. "By who? You're throwing accusations around with no proof, no sources, and now mysterious investigations I've never heard of." Michael stayed calm. "Blake, I know this is difficult, but these are legitimate questions. Viewers and contestants deserve honesty about how the show really works." "Honesty?" Blake snapped. "You ambushed me, Michael." Michael leaned forward slightly. "I understand you're upset, but attacking me won't make this go away. People have a right to know about possible manipulation in a show driven by votes and trust." Blake laughed bitterly. "Public trust? What about my trust? Walking in here expecting to talk about music, not defend myself against conspiracy theories." "This isn't a theory," Michael insisted. "We have sources, documents, and evidence suggesting something's not right." Blake suddenly stood, his chair rolling backward. "Evidence of what? Success? Helping people chase their dreams? If that's what you call manipulation, then yeah, I'm guilty of caring too much." "Please, sit down," Michael urged quietly. "We're live." "Don't tell me to sit down," Blake shot back. "You lured me here under false pretenses. You're trying to destroy my name based on gossip from bitter employees." Michael's tone hardened. "These aren't bitter people. They work directly on the show. They describe deliberate efforts to control results for ratings." "You're accusing everyone, me, the producers, the network, of fraud," Blake shouted. Do you understand what you're saying? I'm saying, Michael replied carefully, that some outcomes may have been influenced by factors beyond talent and votes. Blake began pacing, voice shaking. You're ruining my career with May and suggests. Where I come from, you don't accuse people unless you've got proof. Blake, let's stay professional. Michael tried again. Professional? Blake turned sharply. You call this professional? You ambushed me on national TV with lies. Crew members looked uneasy as the tension filled the room. Michael remained composed. If there's nothing to hide, the truth will clear you. Fans and contestants deserve answers. The truth? Blake's voice cracked. The truth is I've given everything to that show. I've worked my heart out for every singer who's ever trusted me. But what if some contestants never stood a chance? Michael asked. What if their fates were decided before they even performed? Blake glared at him. They're real people with dreams, not characters in your story. I've never betrayed them. Not once. Then help clear this up, Michael said softly. Cooperate. Tell your side. Blake laughed coldly. My side? 12 years of building people up, of believing in something real. But that doesn't matter when nameless sources whisper in your ear. If you're innocent, Michael said, you'll be cleared. The truth will come out. If I'm innocent? Blake's voice rose again. You've already decided I'm guilty. You're just performing the trial live for ratings. His face was flushed and wet with sweat. We invited you to tell your side, Michael insisted. To respond. You call this responding? Blake slammed his hand on the chair. You've given no specifics, no examples, just rumors and maybes. We're protecting an investigation, Michael replied. You understand that? Investigation by who? Blake shot back. You can't even name them. For all I know, you made it up to justify this circus. Silence fell over the studio. Michael glanced at his notes again. Don't look at those, Blake snapped. Look at me. Tell me to my face you think I'd cheat those kids out of their dreams. I think you care deeply about winning, Michael said evenly. And sometimes in that drive, lines can blur. Lines can blur? Blake laughed harshly. Every coach wants to win. That's what competition is. But cheating? Never. Our sources say those lines moved over time, Michael pressed. Small compromises that grew. Blake's hands trembled. Your sources are liars, fired employees, or jealous people who hate success. Or maybe they're people who couldn't stay silent anymore, Michael countered. Maybe they're the real heroes? Heroes, Blake yelled. They're cowards hiding behind anonymity. If they're telling the truth, let them show their faces. They're afraid, Michael replied. Afraid of backlash, lawsuits, and losing their careers. Backlash? Blake's voice was shaking. I'm just a singer from Oklahoma, not some media boss. My only power is my music and my fans' trust, and you're trying to take that away. Then help rebuild that trust, Michael urged. Answer honestly. Blake took a deep breath, his tone low and intense. You want to know who I am? I've helped young artists find their voice. I've stayed up nights helping them perform their best. I've donated millions, helped people in need, and asked for nothing in return but a chance to make music. But that doesn't fit your story, does it? Michael nodded slightly. That's the Blake people admire. So help them understand how this happened. Because it didn't happen, Blake shouted, shaking with rage. There's no conspiracy, no manipulation, just lies from people trying to tear down something good. Security was edging closer as Blake's anger boiled over. You're destroying my life on live TV, he yelled. All for ratings. We stand for truth, Michael replied, his voice firm. Truth? Blake barked out a laugh. You don't care about truth. You care about drama. Producers were signaling frantically now, but Michael pushed on. Have you ever been told in advance who would win The Voice? The room went silent. Blake's voice was low but fierce. No, never, not once. You're sure? Michael pressed. Even if evidence suggests otherwise. That was the breaking point. Blake exploded. Evidence? Show me. You keep talking about documents and proof. Where are they? He moved toward Michael's desk, shouting. You've got nothing because it doesn't exist. This is a setup. Security moved in as Blake's voice cracked with emotion. You've destroyed my reputation with lies. Michael stood now, cautious. Blake, step back. Control myself? Blake shouted, tears in his eyes. You accuse me of fraud on TV and expect me to stay calm? His voice was hoarse from shouting. I've built my life on honesty and hard work, but none of that matters to you because you've got a headline to sell. Suddenly, Blake ripped off his microphone and hurled it across the set, the loud crash echoing through the studio. There's your story, Michael, he screamed. Blake Shelton loses his mind on live TV because a journalist wanted ratings. Chaos erupted. Producers shouted, security moved in, and Michael stood frozen as Blake stormed off the set, his final words cutting through the noise. You proved that reputation means nothing. That truth doesn't matter. All that matters is the story. With that, he was gone. The stunned silence that followed was broken only by Michael struggling to wrap up the broadcast. America had just witnessed a beloved country star unravel on live television, and the fallout would be felt for months. So what do you think? Was this a setup, or did Blake finally reach his breaking point?